is very, very smart.
Ang pera ng bayan ay hindi para sa pansarili, pakinabang ng ilan. Tungkulin natin bilang mga kinatawa na tiyakin ng bawat piso ay para sa pag-unlad at kapakanan ng ating kababayan.
Parang grade 1, no? Kung magsalita, kala mo kinder. Putya, napakabobo na ito magpinsan na to. Pero ang galing pagdating sa kalokohan. Tinan mo, pag nag-i-speech na gano'n, mukhang mga tanga. Tinan mo si Bong mo, pag nag-i-speech mukhang tanga. Pero pagdating sa pagnanakaw, utang tatalino niyan. Ay, ko sa inyo, baka nag-seminar si Lupin III dyan sa mga yan.
What Saldico was saying is that this scheme of getting kickbacks from ghost flood control projects and substandard projects were designed by Martin Romualdez as the mastermind from the start when they were preparing the budget in the House of Representatives. Not after, during the implementation, but when they were preparing or before they even prepared the budget. Now remember, was it Congressman Leandro Leviste who came out and said, parang negosyo dyan sa loob. May mga congressman na nagbibenta dyan Nagbo-broker ng kanilang mga project funds. Tapos sila na lang kukuha ng kickback.
Ang mga politiko sa Batangas ay maaaring tumestigo at suportado sila ni Congressman Garjola, kompleto ang makinarya para gawing negosyo ang Batangas. Kaya baka hindi lang 1 bilyon ang nagastos na ni Garjola para sa mga rekto.
May mga project funds sa infrastructure, especially flood control, na bago pa napasok sa National Expenditure Program at pinadala sa House of Representatives, ay nakapasok na ang 30% na kickback. May contractor na. Kaya kita mo, lahat ng state witnesses nila, lahat taga DPWH. Kasi nga naman, indispensable nga naman ang DPWH officials doon. At syempre, rumakit din sila. Diba? Ang lagay, congressman lang ba ang kickback? Narakit din sila. Kaya natira na lang sa mga contractors, 30% to spend for the project. So, obviously, mag-ghost talaga or magsasubstandard talaga yung projects. Dahil sa lahat na lang, kumuha na ng parte nila. And this scheme.
Ayun itong sinasabi niya, substandard. Ang usapan dito, ghost project. Ghost, ibig sabihin, wala talagang proyekto ni substandard, wala. Ghost talaga. Ganun ka magnanakaw yung mga yan.
Was done even before the NEP was sent to the House of Representatives. Doon pa lang sa DPWH. Hindi ba Secretary Dizon discovered that?
Magkakaroon din po tayo ng sweeping reforms sa project management at project monitoring. Ito pong mga issue sa DUPA, ito pong mga issue sa paano ba nagsisimula ang pagpaplano ng proyekto at paano po ito napupunta sa budget at paano po ito ini-implement. Marami pong nagtatanong, meron po bang master plan para sa flood control ang DPWH? Unfortunately po, mukha po ang sagot po doon ay wala. Kailangan po nating magkaroon nun.
Pero obvious, di ba, na pinapatungan bago pa isubmit ang budget. Nandyan na yung patong ng contractors. Nandyan na rin yung patong ng 30% na kickback ng mga congressman. And that is what Zaldico said, na all of this, nandyan na yan. Ang role ko, ako ang kapitan, pero hindi ako mastermind, sabi niya. Ako yung nagkukumpas, pero si Martin ang may control. Yan ang sinasabi ni Zaldico. At yung mga kickback, galing sa contractor, dadaan sa DPWH, ahatid sa kay Zaldico. In fact, sinabi ng mga Marines na doon inahatid sa bahay ni Zaldico yung maleta-maleta.
Humigit kumulang 3 beses ako mismo ang nag-deliver ng basura sa bahay ni Congressman Zaldico, sa Horizon Resident at sa mga bahay ni Speaker Romualdez sa 42 Mackenzie Street, Taguig.
From there, hinahatid naman ngayon ng mga bodyguards ni Zaldico o siya mismo sa bahay ni Martin Romualdez. Napakalaking kickbackan, hundreds of billions, because the estimated ghost flood control projects funds was at 1.9 trillion. Napakalaking kickbackan, napakaraming maleta na hindi na magkasya sa bahay ni Martin Romualdez sa McKinley, sa Forbes. That's when Zaldico said, Martin gave him an order na maghanap siya ng bahay na bibilhin. Gagawing, in the words of Zaldico, bagsakan ng basura. Basura, garbage, referring to all this kickback money.
Ang ibig sabihin ng basura ay malita na may lamang pera.
And so that's why the property of Magsaysay Ho is mentioned here by the Ombudsman in the complaint for plunder and violation of the Anti-Money Laundering Act. Because yun ang bahay na pinili nila na magiging tambakan. At ang bumili ay ang kumpanyang under the control or shadow control of Martin Romualdez na ang presidente ay ang kanyang close na brad na si Jose Paras na binili nila at an estimated amount of 1.66 billion pesos.
See, kung paano nila tawag dito, hinuhugasan yung mga perang ninakaw nila. Nilalagay nila sa mga kakilala nila, brad nila, kamag-anak nila, malayong kaibigan nila. Cronyism, ganyan din ang ginawa ng Marcos Sr. At sigurado ko kung ginagawa ito ni Romualdez, at totoong nagnanakaw to si Romualdez tsaka to si Bongbong, ganyan ang ginagawa ng magpinsan na yan. Sa ngayon, nakafocus lang sila dito kay Romualdez. Itong nakikita ko ngayon, kalahati na rin tayo, nakafocus lang din kay Romualdez. Hindi pa hina-highlight yung kay Bongbong. Siguro, one at a time, pwedeng ganun. Pwedeng si Marcos Jr., pag wala na siya sa pwesto, wala na siya sa kapangyarihan, baka doon nasisilipin yung mga ginawa niyang kahayupan sa bayang Pilipinas. But for now, para lang may mapanagot, dito muna tayo kay Martin Romualdez. Pwedeng ganun. Kasi nagtataka na talaga ako dito sa PGMN na to eh. Bakit si Martin lang na si Martin ang inaatake nila eh? Bakit hindi nila isinasama si Bongbong Marcos bilang siya ang pinuno eh. Kung sinisisi natin si Martin Romualdez o sinisisi natin si Zaldico, yung amo ni Zaldico, si Martin Romualdez, sino ba amo ni Martin Romualdez? Lang naman siya ang amo ni Bongbong. Si Bongbong ang presidente, di ba? Okay, yun yung part na nakakapagtaka.
Pinili ng kumpanya ni Paras yung Golden Pheasant. Ang sinasabi ng ombudsman sa complaint, money laundering talaga. Kasi nakalagay na ang perang gagabitin to buy that property at 1.66 billion ay manggagaling sa advances ng stockholders. Pero si Paras, sinasabi ng ombudsman, hindi pwedeng sa kanya personal manggaling yung pera kasi yung assets ni Paras ay mga 12 or 18 million lamang. 1.66 billion yung bahay na yun sa Tamarind Street. Yun ang sinasabi ni Chaldico, nagtutugmaan na ngayon. At sinabi ng mga former Marines na security ni Saldico, yung lumabas na 18, na yun na nga, may hinahatid din silang mga maleta doon sa Tamarind Street na bahay. Yun yung tambakan ng basura. Kaya kung iisipin ng taong bayan, bakit nga naman ba hindi tayo magagalit? Grabe. 1.66 billion pesos na bahay, ginawa lang nilang tambakan ng mga kickback nila. Can you imagine kung ilang bata na napaka-college natin dyan sa perang yan? Ilang classrooms na? Ilang pasyente na may butas ang puso dyan sa Philippine Heart Center ang napaoperahan? Ilang hospital na sana ang napaganda, napaayos sa perang yan at 1.66 billion? Kaya naman po, galit na galit ang taong bayan. Galit na galit kay Martin Romualdez. Ngayon, dinideflect ni Martin ang galit na yan kasi nagtago muna siya. Nagtago muna siya kasi siguro he was preparing to leave the country at siyempre nag-aayos-ayos siya ng kanyang mga kayamanan. Di ba? And true enough, sinabi niya na kailangan daw niya ng angioplasty sa Singapore. And so he asked permission. But the ombudsman blocked his travel. Hindi siya binigyan ng permiso to leave the country. Ang dami namang mga batikan dito, mga heart surgeon, mga gagaling na mga doktor dito. Bakit ka papupunta ng Singapore, Martin? At napaka-correct timing ka naman na talagang aalis ka nung alam mo na talagang lalabas na ang plunder case mo dahil in-announce na ni Ombudsman Boying Rimulya at i-freeze na yung assets mo. In fact, frozen nga ang mga assets niya ngayon. Hindi po ba? Kasi nga may Anti-Money Laundering Act na charge eh. Di ba? Frozen yung McKinley niya na bahay. May mga insurance siya. May mga 25 na bank accounts na frozen. But if you know Martin Romualdez, he's very smart. I'm sure na hindi naman yun lahat ng assets niya. Hindi po ba? And some people are actually asking if Yeda Romualdez is still in the country. But she's another story. Let's continue.
0. And that is verifiable. To prove this point, I'm authorizing my staff to share and release to the public the list of all the projects in my district that the authorities may deem attributable to me. Let the public scrutinize and verify for themselves. As I already mentioned, corruption of this scale is not a one-man operation. It requires two things: budget decisions and implementation on the ground. With respect to how the budget was deliberated in Congress, let me say this categorically. I was not a part of the BICAM and the small committee budget deliberations. Yes, I was updated on the general outcomes of the deliberations, but I had no visibility with regard to the specific details of the discussions, including particular amendments or insertions approved during these closed-door deliberations. Records would show that I did not participate in those meetings and I was not privy to what exactly transpired during the deliberations. However, two people were instrumental in making those budget decisions, Chis Escudero and Zaldico. And once the budget becomes law, the work of implementing flood control projects, or any project for that matter, is solely within the purview of the executive, including the DPWH, certainly not by legislators. I understand the anger of the public. The Filipino people have every right to be angry because stolen public funds are taxes derived from hard-earned money. I'm not asking the public to look away. I'm asking everyone to look where the evidence points, not where it is politically convenient or politically motivated. So I ask the Ombudsman and the public these questions. Who has been named in sworn testimonies and affidavits? Whose name actually appeared in credible accounts made under oath? If there are sworn accounts pointing to other personalities across the chain, whether in budget deliberations or in implementation, then those leads must be pursued with the same seriousness and the same urgency. Accountability cannot be selective. For months, I chose silence because I believe in our legal system and in the rule of law. But my silence is now being exploited with politically engineered and fabricated narratives. What's even more disturbing, and this is something that cannot be ignored, is that there are emerging indications that certain sectors are attempting to weaponize individuals, including Zaldico, to construct a narrative that serves their own interests. So when the legal processes is being used against me as a political demolition job, then I will have no choice but to defend myself.
Martin Romualdez attempts to make us believe that his participation in this anomalous budget, where there are hundreds of billions in unprogrammed funds that were used for ghost flood control projects and substandard projects, was limited to his being a speaker. He was not even in the small committee. And then, dinidiin niya si Chis Escudero. Sinasabi niya, si Chis Escudero ang may kagagawan nun, si Zaldico. Wala nga ako dun. But let us not forget, that is a very powerful speaker. Ang scope of power ni Martin Romualdez ay hindi lamang sa district niya, kundi sa buong House of Representatives na kahit nasabihin mo chair pa yan ng mga iba't ibang committee are still under his supervision and control. Sinasabi niya na, ito lang yung participation ko. But Martin, as a good lawyer, and probably practiced criminal law, should know that the charge of the ombudsman here is conspiracy. And in conspiracy, the act of one is the act of all. And Zaldico is saying that he was instructed by Martin to do this and do it this way.
Tinawagan ako ni dating Speaker Martin Romualdez at sinabihan, stay out of the country. You will be well taken care of as instructed by the President.
Not only to achieve this goal, but how to go about it. In fact, was so smart that he did not even appear in the small committee, which is normal. I mean, usually the speaker doesn't really go to the small committee. That's why dinidiin niya na si Chis Escudero lang at si Zaldico ang gumawa niyan. But don't forget, mga kababayan ko, na conspiracy ito. The act of one is the act of all. At ang simula ng conspiracy na ito ay hindi naman dun lang sa pag-implement na ng DPWH kung saan nag-rig na sila ng mga bidding-bidding nila, kung hindi sa paggawa mismo ng budget niya yan sa Committee on Appropriations under the supervision and control of Martin Romualdez at by Zaldico. Pinili niya yan si Zaldico. Pinili niya yan for his own reasons dahil loyal niya lieutenant at marunong mambraso sa mga congressman at sa DPWH dahil dating ang kontraktor si Zaldico. Marunong na siya dyan sa mga kickbackan na yan bago pa siya naging congressman. Itong ombudsman finally filed charges against Martin Romualdez. Pero sabi ni Martin, nilalabas daw niya yung kanyang mga papeles, ganyan. Well, wala naman tayo nakikita sa internet. But for sure, the ombudsman already released the complaint charging Romualdez with plunder kasi over 50 million ang mga kickback. Kasi nag-receive siya eh. Hindi pwedeng, wala naman ako doon sa bidding. Hindi ko naman alam kung sino yung mga contractor na yun nga na nanalo eh. Ang point sa plunder na saan siya nag-participate is from the beginning, alam niya na magkaka-kickback siya doon sa ghost flood control projects at substandard projects na yun. And he received. And that's why Saldi said he delivered. And Martin Romualdez received in his house. How can you even deny na hindi mo na-receive yan, Martin? Ay, bahay mo yun eh. Eh, nadidescribe pa nga ng mga bodyguard ni Saldi ko kung ano itsura ng bahay. Yun namang bahay sa Tamarin na bagsakan ng mga kickback. Yung mga katulong ay may statement na dumating si Saldi ko at sabi ni Saldi ko, ay kailangan na kayong umalis, yung occupant. Kasi ako ang contractor dito i-renovate ko pa ito.
Pareho kayo na ina-identify nyo na siya mismo yung kaharap ninyo na sinasabing ang may-ari ng bahay, si Speaker Romualdez, at kailangang umalis na kayo?
Tama po yun. Tama po, sir.
Not Saldi ko, but Diskaya. Si Diskaya ang na-identify ng mga helpers. And hindi ba si Diskaya, yung mag-asawa, sinabi nga nila na na-deliver sila ng mga kickback money at sinasabi ng mga DPWH na nag-receive na para yon sa taas. Ang pagkaintindi nila, para sa taas, para kay Martin Romualdez at sa mga DPWH na mga opisyales. Basahin natin ang conspiracy na allegation sa complaint of the Ombudsman in paragraph 112. The acts established by the evidence constitute both a combination and a series of predicate criminal acts under Republic Act number 7080, specifically Section 1, subsection D, subsection 2, which penalizes the receipt of any commission, gift, share, percentage, kickback, or any other form of pecuniary benefit in connection with any government contract or project, and B, Section 1, subsection D, subsection 6, which penalizes the taking of undue advantage of official position, authority, relationship, connection, or influence enrich oneself. Ko himself admitted that a monthly collection quota of approximately 2 billion was imposed on him in relation to these quote-unquote commitments. Grabe, no? May quota si Saldi ko ng monthly na 2 billion na kickback. Ganyan sila katindi. In particular, paragraph 112.4, co-stated that from 2022 to 2025, the aggregate amount of such collections reached approximately 55 to 56 billion pesos. 56 billion pesos. He further admitted that these funds were delivered to properties associated with Romualdez, particularly 42 McKinley, and 42 McKinley is listed under the name of both Martin and Yeda Romualdez according to tax declarations. Let's go back to Martin.
And I will defend myself fully. I will not allow myself to be turned into the scapegoat so that others who are actually accountable can walk away clean.
The scapegoat strikes back. This is when he now threatens to spill the beans on this administration, and I think this is what irked Ombudsman Boying Rimulya some more. I mean, all the more he is going to throw the books at him.
If this is a political play to push me out and close the story, tarnishing my name and my reputation, then I'm telling everyone now, I will not go quietly and I will not go alone. I will not be the fall guy for other people's corruption. I have been in public life long enough. I have seen enough. I have heard enough. I know many things about this current administration and past administrations as well.
Martin is saying, marami akong alam. Aba, laglagan na talagang tunay ito. Sinasabi niya, I'm not going to be the fall guy. Ayan. I'm not going to be the scapegoat. Sabi niya, I will not go alone. Kung tatamaan ako, lalaban ako. Sabi niya, I will fight. Sabi niya. At I will not go alone. Ibig niya sabihin, I will take you with me. Yan. Yan ang ibig niya sabihin. At mukhang nangangayayat na nga si Martin Romualdez. Saan kaya niya vinidyo ito? Yan ang mga tanong po ng ibang tao eh. Sure ba tayo na hindi yan nakalabas? Kasi videotaped statement bago lumabas yung complaint ng ombudsman.
And I say this carefully. If this matter is to be handled as a legal issue, then let it be handled legally, soberly, and according to evidence. But if certain people insist on waging this in the court of public opinion, then I will have no choice but to defend myself publicly as well. To the Ombudsman, I say this with full respect. If your office truly believes in justice, then follow the sworn statements, follow the records, and follow the evidence all the way. Do not stop where it is politically convenient. Do not settle for the easiest headline. Do not confuse public pressure with prosecutorial duty. What I ask of the Office of the Ombudsman is simple. Follow the rule of law and due process. This is a serious matter, and it should be handled with seriousness, not with haste, theatrics, or shortcuts. I am ready and willing to respond to every allegation in the proper forum, through the proper pleadings, motions, and submissions that the law allows. And to those who think they can throw me under the bus to save themselves, this is what I have to say to you. I am ready to defend my name. My silence should not be mistaken for weakness, ignorance, or fear. I know enough to defend myself, and if I am forced to do so in public, I will. Maraming salamat po.
Martin Romualdez is now saying that this is a political persecution and that he should be afforded due process. I can hear somebody saying, look who's talking. Look who's talking about due process. Look who's talking about rule of law. Look who's talking about political persecution and convenience. This is a fight where Martin Romualdez is not sure he's going to win. After all, he is going to be the accused here. The ombudsman has the upper hand. And we have an ombudsman who is not only a constitutional officer, but who has the support of the appointing power and whose brother may likely be the presidential candidate in 2028. So here we see the fall of Martin Romualdez in a span of what? He quit in September 2025, and now it's 2026. In less than a year, Martin Romualdez finds himself not only in a defensive position, but anticipating that all the might and all the power of the government through the ombudsman is going to rain on him. And with plunder being a non-bailable offense, Martin Romualdez must be really, really scared now. Well, how's that for a change? Let's see what happens next. When the case is investigated, he is given due process. He will answer, file his counter affidavits, and I have no doubt that the ombudsman will indict him for plunder, graft, indirect bribery, in violation of the Anti-Money Laundering Act.
Yon, alam nyo, palakpakan muna natin si Rowena Guanzon. Nagustuhan nyo ba yung ano na yan, yung kanyang PGMN special? Well, ako lang, magre-react lang ako ng mabilis na mabilis. Mukhang nagawa itong video na ito siguro a few days after yung video revelations or video kakupalan nito ni Martin Romualdez. And siguro mga bossing, hindi ko alam kung bakit ngayon lang nila nilabas to, pero ang alam ko nagkaroon ng ang alam ko baka huling episode na to ni Madam Rowena Guanzon, kasi kung hindi ako nagkakamali, I think I've heard na disappointed siya sa PGMN kasi nga kapag daw kakwentuhan nila yung may-aring si Franco Mabanta, all out daw siya sa pagkukwento, sa mag-asawa. Kasi close na close ni Franco Mabanta yan, mag-asawang Marcos. Pagdating sa mga, mga galawan, bisyo and all. Panay daw ang kwento. Pero kapag yung pagdating na dito, pagka yung trabaho na, wala na. Wala na, ayaw mag-commit. So, hindi ko alam kung during this time is may instruction ba kay Attorney Guanzon na focus lang tayo doon sa sa video na ginawa ni Martin Romualdez. Lang tayo ron, react lang tayo doon. Wag nang pumunta beyond that para hindi malito. Di ko alam kung nabola nila si Attorney Bing Guanzon, because ako alam ko ito si Attorney Bing Guanzon, hindi mo to mapapatahimik kung anong gustong sabihin to, sasabihin nito eh. But I understand na si Martin Romualdez man ang topic, ang target nila, ang nagsalita lang naman si Martin Romualdez. Yung ibang mga sinali ni Martin Romualdez na mga pangalan is siguro we can discuss that sa ibang panahon. Siguro ganun ang dating kay Bing Guanzon, kaya nakafocus lang siya dito kay Martin. And ang title kasi nito is The Rise and Fall of Martin Romualdez. So kaya ganun. But I'm still hoping na makarebound, makabawi itong PGMN. And gumawa din sila ng special patungkol naman kay Bongbong Marcos. Because if, ilan na to CJ Hero, yung kay Franco Mabanta nung nagtataka nga ako bakit ngayon lang nila inilabas ito. Mas maganda to mas maganda tong presentation na ito ni Attorney Guanzon kaysa dun sa presentation ng dalawa ni Franco at saka ni CJ Hero. Para lang sa akin kasi yung kay CJ Hero alaman na natin yun so itong yung mga sinasabi niya doon, although mas naging detalyado, so good job doon, pero nothing new. Dito naman kay Bing Guanzon, naintindihan ko na matagal na itong ginawa. Tataka lang ako bakit ngayon lang nilabas ng PGMN. Ewan ko kung baka may balak ba talaga silang ilabas yan o wala. Pero inilabas na rin nila kasi nga lately tinitira nila si Martin Romualdez, kalaban nila si Martin Romualdez, di ba? So hindi ako sure. Siguro tanungin ko si Attorney Guanzon dito kung bakit na late itong kanyang reaction na to, kasi parang sa napapansin ko din medyo panis na itong issue na ito, dahil hanggang ngayon hindi pa man nakakasuhan si Martin Romualdez, hanggang ngayon hindi pa man siya nakukulong, hanggang ngayon hindi naman na siya ulit tumutunog. So ewan natin kung anong mga mangyayari dito, and hindi rin natin alam kung ano ang purpose or reason bakit ngayon lang inilabas itong video na to. But then again, deserve nitong video na to yung ating reaction. So yun ang reaction natin. Napakaganda ng presentation, maganda yung pagkaka sunod-sunod, himay-himay, pero kulang, bitin. Kasi nakafocus lang din talaga sa isang tao. So I'm convinced. Nung mga nakaraan, I'm still giving PJMN the benefit of the doubt. But now I am a little bit convinced na talagang ang target nila si Martin Romualdez lang. Si Bongbong Marcos, wala. Mukhang itong si Franco ay mukhang operator talaga to. Naniniwala naman tayo, kaibigan naman ni Bongbong. Isa rin naman nagsabi, kaibigan, may mga picture naman sila niyan. Let's just say na medyo duda tayo na para talagang pinoprotektahan nitong PGMN, itong si Bongbong Marcos, at isinisisi ang lahat ng kasalanan dito kay Martin Romualdez. But then again, better that than wala, di ba? At least kahit papaano, itong Martin Romualdez, alam naman natin pagka itong Martin Romualdez nakulong, sigurado tayo may susunod, mas mataas pa dyan. And if we're not gonna get it during this administration, hopefully, next administration, makita natin, kung papaano nila binaboy ang bayang Pilipinas. Ganun din, sana mababoy ang kanilang mga pagkatao. Mabuhay ang bayang Pilipinas. Kung nagustuhan mo itong vlog na ito, like, share, subscribe kayo, at follow sa lahat ng ating mga social media accounts. At mga bossing, pagka nakakaluwag-luwag ka, super thanks ka naman. Maraming salamat, mabuhay ang bayang Pilipinas. Kita-kits tayo ulit sa susunod na vlog.
Kami ang boses ng masa, hindi natatakot. Katotohanan lang, di kami nalulunod. Walang bahid ng sismis, lahat ay totoo. Kahit sino ka pa, pag mali ka babanatan ka. Walang pinipili kulay, wala kaming kinikilingan. Basta para sa bayan, kami lalaban. Pag tama palapakan, pag mali banatan, di matitinag, di matatakot. Para sa bayan, tuloy ang sigaw. Sa harap ng kamera, walang halong takot. Mga baluktot, lahat kayo'y tutumba. Ang hustisya at totoo, yun lang ang mahalaga. Kahit sinong harang, di kami matitinag. Walang pinipiling kulay, wala kaming kinikilingan. Basta para sa bayan, kami lalaban. Pag tama palapakan, walang halong